Good morning. Today's musings from a kinder place. So I've been thinking about a kinder place and the school closures. Feels to me, I'm not sure, we'll see as the news unfolds. I know it's a really fast moving situation, so it's not helpful to be critical, but I'm just noticing maybe another fudge. So the one last week was we're going to keep the pubs open but don't go to them. So that was really difficult for a lot of publicans and restaurateurs. And then this week's sort of slightly mixed message, I think, is we're going to close the schools, but we're not. So we've got this language of key workers and this language of vulnerability. So let's think about each of those. So, but let's start with vulnerability. So I think what's being referred to there is, babies, children, not babies so much, but so 4 to 18-year-olds who might be in foster care, who might be in transition arrangements under the care of social workers, who might be on the wrong side of the tracks, county lines. So these children who are really vulnerable, can be really vulnerable. Going to school is an anchor for them, right? A lot of them struggle to go to school actually, but it is at least notionally an anchor for them to go to school and for the school to be in loco parentis during the day. But my thought is surely now the local authority needs to discharge its responsibility to be in loco parentis more fully during school hours, because schools are now closed. And the reason that schools are closed is because we're going into self-isolation to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. So there's all sorts of issues, like how are those children and young people going to feel about going into a school where none of their mates are there, and how are the teachers going to respond, and who's going to do what? It's all very odd, really, if you actually think it through. So maybe local authorities create the conditions where school facilities can continue to be used, thinking creatively about use of the school kitchen so that maybe there's continuing role there to produce food. So I don't know. I just don't think it doesn't make sense. And also kind of just on a very practical level and also a sort of systemic level, teachers are not social workers. Social workers are social workers. So, it just doesn't feel right. Then the key workers, it's got this other language, which is the children of key workers. So we're going to keep the schools open so that we can make sure that the doctors and nurses can still go to work, and the lorry drivers. And I kind of have got more sympathy for this one. I'm still not sure that school is the right place for this. I think that if maybe schools have a role in facilitating arrangements that mean that these children are going to be looked after during the day. But again, that feels more social services to me than school. But obviously schools have the network, they know the people, so on a practical level. So I'm not sure on that one. Anyway, as we... sorry, I'm just stirring my porridge. As we continue to transition moment by moment into the full enormity of this cataclysmic event, the need for us to remain calm and connected and productive grows ever deeper. So just a little word to the wise. Slow down. Slow down. Feel your feet on the ground. Might not be a time for sort of meditation because you might just be too distressed and too worried, but just ground. So just feel your feet on the ground. Just drop your shoulders. And just kind of resource yourself. Do that many times a day. So maybe just hold the thought, here I am. So here I am cooking my porridge. Here I am visiting mum. Here I am catching up with a friend. Here I am allowing myself to just chill while I read the paper. Here I am freaking out. Whatever it is, just maybe it's a time for grounding. Well, it is a time for grounding. Not maybe, it is a time for grounding, because we are kind of in a battle. There's metaphors about war, etc. I can understand why people are using them, because that's how it's feeling out there for a lot of people, and it's going to be very intense. So I hope that the schools close fully, because I think that's the way to go. so that the teachers can look after themselves and their families, and can also play a part in continuing with the online and the sort of teaching packages, and can to some degree discharge their continuing responsibility for educating the children, which is their job. They are not social workers. Hope these musings are helpful. Stay calm, get connected, and be productive.